This will be a weird one. I'm in my virtual desktop, just looking at my computer desktop. And so I had my X-Arcade 2 TV with the idea that I'm mainly going to use it for uh, virtual pinball and also for retro arcade with like an XR arcade cabinet would be ideal. And then I could just render whichever virtual pinball table machine I want, or render the appropriate arcade cabinet for whatever game I'm playing. Is the idea. Uh, in VR, but preferably mixed reality is my preference. But I don't have many arcade games. I have a large um, PC collection. Actually, right now I'm playing Street Fighter 6, the World Tour mode, single player mode. Been stuck in that, liking that. But now I think at some point I'm going to want to play the older Street Fighter games. But I wanted to get a jump start for older retro and older console. And I've seen these YouTube videos for these different hard drives, which I'm a little confused by, but they're just purchasable on Amazon. Uh, so one of them I've seen is a 12 terabyte Kinhank, and the other one's been a 14 terabyte uh, Ppreet, I think is the name, or Pprit. This one's actually Bbret is the branding, but some of the files actually show up as Pprint for the YouTube videos that I've seen. So I looked at both of these. Now there is one difference. Like there's two version of the Kinhank 12 terabyte. This one on Amazon, it doesn't list. Actually, I think specifically, yeah, not the 5-in-1 version. Meaning it's only got one launcher, which is the Hyperspin. Uh, the I think there's a newer version of this one that has multiple launchers. Um, I think 5 launchers plus Cody, which is weird. But the alternative, but that 5-in-1 is at least not on Amazon when I looked. It's on I think AliExpress, but I didn't want to wait for shipping. And then there's this 14 terabyte version of the Bbret, whichever. But this one has, they call it 7-in-1, but that's a misnomer. I would say that this one's really, they give you really 6 launchers plus Cody. Cody doesn't really, I mean, I don't, they both include Cody. For this 5-in-1, they don't count it. For this 7-in-1, they do count it. The one difference launcher is this 14 terabyte has, I think, CoinOps Next is the additional launcher, which it has a couple curated collections, maybe. I mean, it's got maybe 10 or 15 systems on it. It's a pretty small setup compared to the other launchers, but we'll dig more. The other difference is, well, the size, but they have a similar number of games. They have a lot of their collections are basically the same, and then the artwork is set up differently between them because, well, this one's got one launcher versus this one, which has the 6 launchers. So it's divvied up. That's one thing where you've got 96,000 games when in one launcher. It's basically, from the YouTube videos I've watched, I mean, it's like, I consider that basically unusable. I don't know how you're supposed to get through that. First you have to pick which system you want, and then you have to pick which game out of that system. It just looks like a big scroll. You're never going to find anything, especially in VR if you don't have a keyboard easily available to type for something. This one seems a little bit nicer, where it has at least the different uh, launchers. So you could have like one launcher mainly for retro arcade, another launcher for modern arcade, maybe one launcher for retro console, and another launcher for modern console, and then maybe another launcher then even for just like your highly curated collection, and then a launcher specifically for PC. So I kind of like this concept of having multiple with ridiculous collection sizes, uh, divvying them up by a launcher to make it at least navigable. Another difference between them, this 12 terabyte, the Kinhank, is I think both versions are USB B, a much older connector, versus the 14 terabyte P-Preet, which is USB C 3.1. This was noticeably faster connecting and also copying files. The the big thing I don't like about both of these is they have like this nice, they have I don't know, they have these installations, and all their installations are turn off your virus protection, which I'm not going to do. So I got these as where I'm just really going to ignore the launchers that they have installed. I'm going to run these from a NAS, and I'm basically just using this to seed my retro collection on a NAS. So I'm just going to look at these from that perspective of how I've been divvying it up. Like right now, I'm pretty much still setting up my NAS, and I'm not actually using them much. I've only just begun working with the launchers. So I'm light on actually getting the games within the launchers and using the launchers and setting up the launchers. Right now, I'm just kind of trying to, wrangle these. Well, one of these collections, which one I want. So I'm going to look at these now. I don't have either of these now right now, so we're just gonna look at. I saved off a WinDirStat of each of these, and we're just gonna look at that right now. So on the left is the 12 terabyte. Ignore that saying the 7-game system. I think right now I still have the P-Preet plugged in, and I guess it's picking up the when I had this plugged in, it was E, so I think it's just using. I think this is a weird WinDirStat oddity. So this was just the single system. This is one that's saying it's a 7 system, which is minus Kodi should be a 6 system. But let's crack them open. So like at the root, well, like this is a 12 terabyte. Both of them had like a little bit of free space. I would say maybe, you know, it says 12 terabytes, but it only had 10.7 terabytes and maybe 300 megabytes free. But that's just a weird hard disk drive math. So it was full, except for like 300 megabytes. And I think this was the same for the 14 terabyte. Practically full, maybe 300 megabytes free. For the launchers taking up space, the 12 terabyte was maybe like 100 megabytes for the launcher, since it only had one launcher. This 7 system, it was more like 450 megabytes, I think, for all, because it had the 6 different launchers. Because the BIOSes, like the BIOSes that you needed for there, took up a decent amount of space. If we look at this one, so you can see where most of the, 10.7 terabytes is in arcade. We can look, and so this is mainly just launcher install. Emulators here might be BIOS, but let's go into the collections. And so this one's a little weird in that now we see all the systems that it has. And so this is one where everything's in one system. Like some of them don't have stuff. It's got this Taito, which just has, nothing's in it. So they just this title down here, like these are just 0 bytes. They've got the folder, so I kind of feel like they have this bigger collection and they're just grabbing from it and throwing stuff over. So some of the stuff you might have like artwork for, like, uh, I mean, I think this is those weird, I think this is that like, isn't like Dojin games are, I think are those, uh, I mean, they're not games I play, but I think that they're highly suspect if I'm not mistaken. But maybe they have a hard drive that has these games in them. I don't think this one has any of those, but it's got a folder for it. So I guess they did for maybe there's another hard drive that they have on AliExpress for those type of games. Uh, I do think, well, related, if I'm not getting stuff confused, the Japanese words I don't know. They do have 3DO. There are some 3DO games in there that you are adult focused. I would say maybe it looked like five that looked suspect from at least a little that when I was copying stuff over. I was like, well, that doesn't seem right. I'm not sure about the pprint, but a lot of the collections are the same for within a system. So I would be like, it's highly likely that this pprint has the same. Like when I was doing a comparison between a lot of these systems, it was basically the ROMs would be identical, but then the artwork was what was different. So there, a lot of them are pulling from the same source material, and you can too. Like I mean, that's just 12 terabytes is a lot, and just trying to get this initial setup, the seating is a lot. That's why I was looking at this. Uh, the things I don't like about these, like just as an retro conceptually, like these off right. Like so, this one's got a look 2.7 terabytes of PC games. I just disagree with that. They, for the most part, it should not have PC games on here. All the PC games that I can still purchase, I don't think they should be here. Support the developers. I really see this as they keep games alive and for stores that are storefronts that are closed, as everything keeps getting closed down. Then I consider it fair game personally. Granted, not a lawyer. There's PS4 and PS5 on one of these. I don't think it's this. It must be the pprint, but those are just PC games. They're not being emulated. So again, the same right. I don't think that makes sense. They shouldn't be labeled as PS4 or PS5 games. They're just PC games. There's Ouya, that Android table, small Android all-in-one kit that was kickstarted. These are PC games. I expected that they would have been Android APKs, but they're not. So I'm like, this doesn't make sense either. I think like I consider this like invalid. And then Switch is still being sold, even though there's Switch 2. Switch is very much supported. I disagree with this. The gray areas, I think, are PS3 and Xbox 360. I don't have either of these anymore. I did. Like I think they both said they were shutting down their stores, and they both got backlash. So now they have their stores at least somewhat running. I don't actually know what the current state of these are, but I consider these like a gray area. I so this one like has PlayStation 3, 280 gigs. I'm not sure how many are in the other one. And they both have some Xbox 360. Now, for the PC stuff that I do think makes sense is delisted PC games. Stuff that's like not on uh, good old games yet. That's just on the good old games wish list. And I think I just looked at the PC games for the Kinhank. I think it's got the most PC games. Like definitely like Red Dead, Final Fantasy. Like no, these are I think those shouldn't be there. But Angry Birds, I don't think you can get those anywhere. And these were the other ones that I when I searched that seemed to be delisted and not available anywhere. Like I know Pinball FX2 is delisted from Steam. I happen to own it, so I wouldn't use this. But I know it is delisted. And then these are some of the other ones I think probably delisted for music rights and stuff like that. But I think these make sense to be on here where they're not available from somewhere. But if they, as soon as they get on like good old games, then get them out of here. That's the way I look at it. And then all the other ones get out of here. There were some fan made PC stuff that showed up. Uh, I'm not familiar with these, but another Metroid 2 remake, Streets of Rage remake. Yeah, I can see that these were the publishers could be upset and had these probably shut down. So if these aren't available somewhere else, then I think these make sense. Stepmania, though, if I'm not mistaken, I thought this was just open source. I think that's just, I would just, if it is, I'm like, I would just go and get this on my own. I think it's, even if it's just available in closed source, I don't think this is banished anywhere. I could be wrong. I'm not a step maniac. But I definitely agreed with, I'm not going to turn off my virus protection. So I have not run any of these launchers. Like this 7-game system, let's go into a little bit. So this Core Type R is like the launcher for the launchers. So this launches and then it lets you pick from one of the 7 launchers. And so those are in computers, ROMs. So these are the different launchers: RetroBat, PlayNight, Hyperspin, Attraction. RetroBat is going to be retro arcade and console. PlayNight is for PC. Hyperspin Attraction is for retro arcade. Hyperspin Technoparrot is for modern arcade, effectively, I think, PC. CoinOps Next, this is the much smaller one, which is has like maybe 10, 15 different systems on it and pretty much like a curated collection. I really don't know anything much about CoinOps Next. Now, Launchbox, we can see it doesn't have, it's small. This looks like just the launcher size, I guess, and art maybe. But this Launchbox is good at having links, and it's linking to basically everything that's in RetroBat. And Kodi just appeared like I haven't ran it. Like I can install Kodi on my own. Kodi, Kodi's only interesting here because it was really Xbox Media Center. I was like, is it like one of the original launchers? Might be. But it's not set up with anything. It doesn't have like, I saw another video and people were like, hey, and on a subsequent video, they're like, hey, there's got to be something on there, like maybe IPTV set up or there's other, add-ons installed, but it just appears to be an install of Kodi. So this one doesn't make any sense and they should no way be including it on their count because there's not even space on the hard drive for you to load, more stuff on it through Kodi. I know Kodi, I thought, has some emulator support. I don't know if it's using RetroArch under the hood. That'd be my guess. I've only really used it for video, but it's I don't think it's set up to point to any of the ROMs right now. So I have my understanding is it's just a fresh install of Kodi, which you can simply do yourself. So I don't know how this makes any sense other than artificially, incrementing their count. But I haven't ran any of these. I only looked at the other YouTube videos where people have ran them. What I've been doing is basically splitting the ROMs collection to a NAS. where I will have, my emulation, my system, and well, actually, so it's my NAS. I've got a game. I've got emulation. This is now system instead of ROMs. Then I have a folder for each system, and then I have another folder where ROMs would be for within that specific system. But I ran this query PowerShell, and I'm looking for basically anything: executables, bats, commands, comms, installers. Just kind of a list of could be potentially problematic file types. And anything that was in here, I would move to like a PC or it's my PC directory. For me, it's PC 2D because I will also have a PC VR directory, which I haven't set up yet or haven't moved yet. And then I heavily scan that. The idea is that this emulation directory will just be ROMs that'll be run through an emulator, which should be trustworthy, because the expectation is those emulators would not be running malicious code on the ROMs, that there's at least some protection through that emulation layer. That could be wrong on my part, but that's where my current thoughts are. And that this PC directory is where it's the Wild West, and I will thin it down. But I mean, if you're thinning down, 100,000 games, who cares? You don't need all of them. So I'll get rid of the risky ones. So some of the stuff that was definitely flagged by virus protection. One of them, I think the Kinhank had a touchscreen, an old touchscreen jukebox, SK jukebox install. So it flagged the installer. Mugen, I guess, is I think if I remember, this is the way to. It's like I guess it's like an engine for fighting games. I think, or that could be open. I could be confusing with open bore. One of these I think is for fighting. These are both engines, I guess, for different game types. Mugen was flagged heavily. Open bore had some stuff flagged, but the expectation is that all I really cared about was the pack files from these. So I was going to get rid of those, anything that wasn't a pack file. Ouya, as I said earlier, was PC stuff. So Steam API DLL was getting flagged. I have a big Steam collection, so I was just anything Steam related I was going to get rid of. Pinball FX2 I just happen to have already owned, so I'm not going to worry about that one. There were PopCap games in there. I mean, I would just smoke all these. And then TechnoParrot is the new modern arcade stuff. This was also heavily flagged. If I remember correctly, Mugen was flagged the most, and then followed by TechnoParrot. And they could totally be false positives for doing emulation, but it's just something I'm not going to deal with. So other thing was just the stuff that I considered like high risk is that had the different file types where there was Game & Watch. These were these handheld simulators. I think they were mainly Delphi executables. I mean, I barely remember the Delphi programming stuff. I think I had a book back in the day. Loco Malito games. I mean, these were getting flagged. Of course, DOS. I mean, some of the DOS stuff had like COM before even, EXEs were a thing. Mugen, Ouya, PC games, the pinballs, PopCat, TechnoParrot, and I don't know how to pronounce this, Toho project. I think this is bullet hell stuff. But a lot of these were just executables. So I consider these high risk, and I moved them to this PC2 directory, and then I've just been scanning them with all the virus protections and quarantining all the files. I think out of the collection that I ended up with, or maybe 150 files that got quarantined. mainly executables, some DLLs. Stuff that I considered medium safe was that there were Flash and Java games. I'm generally not going to run these, but maybe I would run these within an emulator, expecting that that emulator would do some protection. But there's also a chance that I would just never run these. So I might just throw these into a zip just for archiving sake. And then there were a number that I was cleaning up. So Daphne, which I don't really know. I mean, this is brand new to me, but it seemed to have a. I thought these were FMV sort of games where they had like a ROM file, but they also had another media, maybe a media directory or a media zip. But at least on these drives, they also had the definitely like an executable along with them. I was going to delete all of those, what seemed like to be installed files, and hopefully just see if I could use what looked like the ROM and then its media. Same for ScumVM. I think they saw a lot of these. Some of these had like their original installers, but what I really just I think all ScumVM needs is actually the data. So anything else I was just getting rid of. Doom, all I really wanted was the WAD files. I can install GZDoom, everything myself. The future pinball. I will just do future pinball on my own at some point, but they did have some FBT tables. I'm assuming these are all safe. And the jukebox. This was where the XK jukebox install. I think this makes sense. Like if you have a touchscreen device, maybe that was useful, but I'm assuming there's just some other way to play music. I doubt that's like, I'm not going to mess with that jukebox. But before we get to this, that's kind of where I'm at right now, is I've just done this initial cleanup and divvied stuff up. I've made a little bit more progress, but we'll look at this next. Let's kind of dig in to these a little bit more, kind of show you what's here. So, I mean, this one just had, this is the Kin Hank, a lot of PC games. I mostly disagree with all of these games. PlayStation 2, a lot of ROMs. Wii was huge, so 2.7 terabytes for PC, 1.2 terabytes PlayStation 2, 1 terabyte of Wii, GameCube 700 gigabytes. Granted, this is ROMs and also art to go along with it. So there's art assets are going to be playing a smaller part in these large collections. If you get down to these smaller collections, at some point, the art's actually bigger than, the ROMs themselves. So keep that in mind. MAME, I think MAME's got a lot of, so this is the other thing to look at is the files. So PC Games has a lot of files because stuff is installed. I like these if I'm going to put them on a NAS, where I'm getting down to much smaller file counts. MAME is huge just because there's so many arcade games. Xbox 360, smaller, PlayStation Portable. Technoparrot has more files because these are effectively, I think, somewhat PC games. This is the modern arcade stuff. Wii U. So let's see. That seems like a lot of files. Yeah, so Wii U these are folders that has a lot of files in them. I would not do that. I would, for these, this is like here, you can use CEMU. It's the emulator, and it has a way to let you convert these folders into a single WUA, I guess it's a Wii U archive file. So I would process all of these. That it should not have this large file count. PlayStation 3, I think it's the same thing. There's not many. Sorry, I can't click in VR. But I mean, it's got the content. So I think all of these should be converted to ISO is what I would do to put them on a NAS. So Switch, which I disagree with. Don't do this. You can still buy Switch games. Dreamcast, 180, 3DS, 170, Doom. I mean, how many Doom WADs do you need? That many. Sega Saturn, so Mugen, this is the one that got flagged heavily along with Technoparrot. Xbox, and you can kind of just get a look at what they have. Now, I didn't, the one thing I was kind of expecting here, which I didn't see, is Vita. There's no Vita games. I figured there'd be Vita. They had PlayStation Portable, but there was no Vita. I guess because it's more of a touchscreen device. I would have liked to have a Vita on this, but neither of these had Vita games. That was the one that I was kind of looking at where I was like, that's weird. But you can get an idea of this one. The one thing I don't like about this is for the systems, they're using like their long, pretty names, like RetroBat and I think Emulation Station. They all have kind of like this short naming structure, which that's what I'm doing on my NAS. I'm not naming my systems these vanity names like this. And we can see that over here. Let's go over to pprint now. So Launchbox, it's mainly images. It's got the artwork. It's got the emulators, but it's small because it's just pointing to RetroBat for all of its ROMs. CoinOps. So where is it in here? Is it not? Is it really images? Oh, clicking the wrong one. Yeah, Launchbox is okay. Never mind. It scratched that last 30 seconds. I'm not going to edit it. CoinOps next. Now, this is that curated collection. I don't really know much about CoinOps next. I don't know how popular it is. But I guess it looks like maybe 20. So Sega CD, PC Engine, 55 gigs, 46 gigs, 14 gigs. So you can see it that this is, mainly retro consoles. Some CD-based stuff. Lots of cartridge, but like Commodore 64, that's pretty old to be in here, I guess. It's got Atari. I don't really know what the collective, if ZZDoom is in here, that's weird. I don't know what this idea was for this. It just seems like a hodgepodge. Technoparrot. It's got one collection, Technoparrot. So this is all more modern arcade games. A lot of these are, I think, effectively PC games. That's why they got flagged with virus warnings, even if it's false positives. But 500 gigs. Hyperspin attraction, 1.5 terabytes. So mainly retro arcade. I guess it does have some PC games in here. I mean, I don't agree with any of these. The Mugen fighting games, yeah, I would think that would make sense for Hyperspin. It's got pinball in here. I see this as they've got Hyperspin set up as a retro arcade, which is how I would set up Hyperspin as well. Play Night. So Play Night is specifically PC games. So this one's a little bit smaller. It's got 2.3 terabytes compared to 2.7 terabytes over here. Granted, they both have this retro. Man, come on. So this one does have Cyberpunk too. It's got both of them. But again, most of these I don't agree with. Just buy your games on Steam. I think this should only be delisted games. Now, RetroBat, 7.7 terabytes. So this is the huge collection. And you can see this is the comparison of how they're naming their systems. This is the RetroBat style. Emulation Station has similar directory names. This is also what I've been doing on my network storage. So if we shrink this down, so in here at PS3, this one's got 1.1 terabytes versus the 12 terabytes has 300 gigabytes. Let's look at this one. It's naming the folders with .ps3, but it's also just the loose files. So these are, I would convert to an ISO. I don't like having all those. I don't have all these files on my NAS. I want smaller counts like this Wii. PS2, well, so Wii is a terabyte. I think that's actually similar to here, 1.1. It's almost identical, 1.1. PS2, terabyte. First over here, PlayStation 2. There we go. 1.2 terabytes. So comparable. Switch. Oh my gosh. So this one's got a terabyte. First, the 12 terabyte has oh, here it is. 200 gigabytes. So massive difference for the 14 terabytes. But also, I massively disagree with this. Xbox 360, 500 versus 500. GameCube 490 versus 760. PlayStation 480, 480. So almost identical. PlayStation Portable 423, 446. Wii U 336, 392. 3DS 221, 177. So I think, I mean, they're just, as we go down these lists, I believe they start getting more, they start tracking more one-to-one, where the systems are basically effectively the same. With some of these larger ones where the actual differences is like that. The difference between those 2 terabytes of the 12 terabyte and the 14 terabyte come into play. So I think, let me scroll down further. We're looking specifically at this RetroBat because it's got more systems. But you can see, a lot of these that I've here are just all zeroed out where they've filled in, I think, all the, even more folders than I think RetroBat actually even supports. But they're just zeroed out. So Sega 32X is here, and then we've just got like half of the directories in here are just entirely empty. Compared to this upper half, which actually does have content. So keep that in mind. Let's go back to my list. So yeah, so where I'm at right now is where file type, the number of files have just gone nuts. So NDS, why is that? There just may be that many. Yeah, there are just that many DS games. Absurd. So here we go, 7,000. That is nuts. And then the rest would be artwork to, give box art and screenshots for that 7,000 games. Were there any other offenders? Game Boy Advance, SNS, I do imagine they have that many games with the associated artwork. So yeah, the ones with the file types, just being ridiculous, are PS3 uh, all over here, and also the Wii. Was it the Wii U? Yeah, the Wii U here just has too many. Granted, Technoparrot has stuff too, but it's probably stuff I'm unlikely to run. So I'm in that. I'm just reducing the number of files into ISOs or Wii U archives. There's some that are zipped that I will probably be converting to a format which I think is easier. I don't know exactly how to pronounce this. I see it a lot. What the nomenclature is, but I'll probably be switching some stuff that's zipped to this format, assuming it's easier to for an emulator to consume over a NAS instead of having to pull it down, unzip it, and then load it. If the size is comparable, I would just convert it. For BIOS, now I think this one did have an interesting BIOS directory. I know other places to get BIOSes, but RetroBat BIOS, 5 gigs. It seems like it has a good BIOS collection. I think there's other places you can go. And to my other point about there's just too much. Some of the early stuff, like vintage computers and early handhelds, I will probably just, and actually some of the stuff too that is just questionable if I'm going to ever run it or not. I'm likely just to archive those into a single file and just keep them to see if I have interest in them later on to actually see, work with them. And then I'm going to have to get into the launchers, and this is generally how I'm going to divvy them up now, where I think RetroBat would be my retro consoles, cartridge-based. I'd probably do Launchbox for modern consoles, which I would say would be the transition to disc-based. I'd do something like Hyperspin Attraction for a retro arcade, and Hyperspin Technoparrot for a modern arcade, assuming I even do a modern arcade. And if I was going to do PlayNet, I would do PC. I'm less likely to do either of these bottom two, and just stick with these. So I like doing this, looking at, I'm probably going to divvy them up as between retro and more modern, and also console versus arcade. If I kind of can compare like what the count of 100,000 games is, like how would I split this up? I would say probably 60,000 of those are probably arcade, and maybe 40,000 of those are console. That'd be my very rough estimate. If I was going to do retro versus modern, I don't have a good estimate what that would be, but it would be what I consider modern. It's a much smaller count would be modern, and much larger would be retro. But that's where I'm at. All to ultimately feed this X-Arcade 2TV controller. Yeah, that's all.